Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast.
It's the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Coming up, an insider look at Formula E racing. Jeff has a feature, shaggin' wagons of the 70s.
Yeah.
Because Jeff had one.
Sorry, Kathy.
No, it wasn't.
Mars reviews the 2024 Canyon. Is it the GMC Canyon?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I didn't know whether they'd swap names over at Chevy or anything.
No,
it's
my
the
bad.
GMC Canyon. Just ahead here on the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show. Howdy, along with Mike out of this world, Mars. We always need more Jeff Zekin. I'm Don Armstrong. Glad you could join us today. David Ainsley is moving a radio station today, so he's not with us, but he'll be with us again
Sweating
soon.
his butt off is what he's doing.
Do what?
He's sweating his butt off is what he's doing.
Oh, no. He's going to put that there.
That's exactly right.
Hang that over
You
there.
don't think he's moving
I'm
it.
going to lunch for 3 hours. Make sure that's done. That's David.
That's David. Yeah, okay.
You know how we would do on remotes?
Yeah, that's right. He stands there and tells us what to
Yeah.
do. Go do this, go do that.
Right. Or, Don, are you kidding me? What do you do here?
He does it all the time.
All the time. So I get chastised. It doesn't make any difference what I do. Are you kidding me? You did what? That's so stupid.
I just like the
Thank
way
you, David.
You do that just like he
I know he does.
Yeah, well, I've had many years of it.
You have.
Thank you, David.
We love you, David.
Joining us now, Ross Smith, insider look into the Formula E. Ross is also a Houston rep for Garages of America.
Yeah.
Hey, Ross, thank you for joining us today. Good to see you.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. Well, so where do you want to start? I mean, do you want to start with Garages of America, or do you want to start with Formula E? Looks like you're in the Formula E suite.
So this is what the FIA garage looks like. This you can even see the scales behind me there.
Yeah.
So I took this shot specifically for give the feel of being there.
Well, you could have just said, yes, we're here now. We're coming. And where is that garage located?
This one is actually in Portland, where we worked Formula E.
Portland, Oregon.
Correct.
Okay. Because there are other Portlands. I just want to make sure it wasn't Portland, Iowa or something.
Yeah, Portland, Oregon. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
very good. And I assume that's where you live?
I live down here in Houston.
Oh, you do?
So
Okay.
I'm in the Woodlands.
All right. I'm just trying to get the landscape
bearing.
here. Yeah. All of that. All right. So let's talk about Formula E. And for those that are not familiar with it, and I'm not that familiar with it, it's the electric version of Formula One, is it not?
Correct. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's actually quite a few previous Formula One drivers that run in this particular series.
All right. So what's the difference between a Formula One car and a Formula E car?
So the Formula E is more of a spec series. It's almost like a really hopped up version of Spec Miata. So, because all of the cars are identical. So the bodies are the same. The aero is the same. They all run the same tires, which are a dual compound tire. They have a wet side and a dry side on that. Where the teams have a lot of flexibility is the actual suspension itself, and then how the power is delivered. But that's pretty much it.
Where does the power come from?
So it's an electric motor in the back. It's about 400, the equivalent of 400 horsepower. But what's interesting about this is they actually have a part of the track where you can have a boost up to 470 that you can use once per race.
So where does that boost come from? Does it come from the batteries of the car?
It does. And it's interesting because of the telemetry that's on the car. When it reaches a certain point in the track, which is different for every course, they can use that particular part of the track, and that kicks the boost in.
So you hold the button as you approach that little section of the track, and then once it hits that section, boom, there's your horsepower.
Yes, sir.
Wow. That sounds like
It's like
a lot of
video
fun.
game.
You better hang on.
Yeah, just like in the video games. You cross the edge.
Well, it plays a lot into the strategy. I don't know if you're familiar with World Rallycross, but they have something similar called the Joker Lap that they have to take once a race. Well, this is kind of a little bit of the opposite. They get an extra boost one time during the race on that particular. Where you use it or when you use it is up to you.
Well, did you watch any of the cross-country road course stuff that the bicyclists were. Did you know that there is a feeding zone? There's a feeding zone. And it's, I don't know, about 3/4 of the way through this 22-mile course of bicycling for the Olympics, right? And you have to, if you're going to eat anything, you've got a certain amount of mileage, and it's not much, to eat. And they all get a bag of gel and all of all the healthy stuff that they eat.
Oh, sure.
And I'm thinking, wow, this is kind of like that. You get a boost, and you can see you can only use it once.
You can only use it once during the race. So it's up to you. Do you want to use it right out of the gate to try to get up front, or do you want to try to use it to pass somebody mid-race?
Well, yeah, but you better be in position to use that horsepower in that boost area.
Absolutely. And it's, like I said, it's a driver's series. I would say that when I was watching, the lead changed 6 or 7 times. I mean, it's really good racing to watch.
Well, let's talk about change. Do you change batteries in it?
You do not.
2 cars.
You do not. And Jeff says you got 2 cars.
Yes, you do have 2 cars. You got 2 cars that you can use.
Okay, so at what point do you say, okay, let's use car 2?
And also, to expound on that, there's only certain times you're allowed to charge.
Yes.
Too, as well, during the weekend. So...
Wait, stop. During the weekend?
The weekend.
In other words, you have to qualify, practice, qualify, and then race?
Correct. So you have 2 cars to do that with, and that particular weekend in Portland was a double header. We raced on Saturday, and we had a race on Sunday.
And you got to charge in between?
Correct.
Now, aren't there rules that you have to have so much energy left at the end of the race in the second car when you cross the finish line?
That is true, and that has a lot to do with, like I said, the 2 things that they have control over is suspension and power delivery. So if you decide that you want to set up your battery to use a certain X amount of power during the race or whatever that is, there's a lot of math that goes into that. Then, like Jeff said, you have to have a certain amount left at the end.
Wow. It's like saying I got to have a quarter tank of gas whenever I get there.
Yeah,
pretty much.
It's like looking at your phone and saying, okay, I have to have 15% battery by the time I get home.
Yes. All right, so let's expand on this just a little bit more.
Okay.
Batteries weigh a lot. What's the difference in weight between the Formula One gasoline-powered car and an electric car?
So the weight is actually very similar. So these cars with driver are about 1,700 pounds, and the battery pack is 750 pounds of that, just the battery pack alone.
So there's no swapping batteries in the middle of the race.
Actually, one of the Gen 1 cars, they had that capability to actually swap battery packs, but we're on the Gen 3 car now, and it's a much different car.
Yeah. And how much space in the car? I assume that the thing is down underneath the car, the bottom of the car.
Yeah, it's as low. They try to get the center of gravity as low as humanly possible with that battery.
Well, what does it do as far as effect is concerned when it comes to aero underneath the car? Because in these kind of cars, I mean, it's really all about the aero.
Right, and that's the thing is like you on a Formula One car, you can adjust aero. You can adjust, and on these you can't. The aero is fixed, so it goes along with the spec car.
Wow. All right.
Spec car being the key, so everybody's the same in that regard.
It's basically like going to a circle track race, and there are certain divisions, if you will, certain categories of cars. You ain't going to touch that engine. The engine is sealed, signed, sealed, and delivered. And the only thing that you can really do is adjust the suspension on the car and the way it goes around the track.
Correct. And these things are fast. They actually beat the 0 to 60 time for the Formula One cars.
Yeah.
The fastest they went was 2.49, and the previous record was 2.6.
What do they sound like?
That was a kind of a surprise to me. I was expecting it to be very silent, but when these things take off, they sound like a jet engine.
Yeah.
Like they have
got a whine
really
to them.
High-pitched whine to them. And you can tell when they're going by.
Yeah.
Well, what is it that's making the
200 miles
whine?
per hour.
What is it that's making the whining noise? Is it the aero? Is it the electric motors? What is it?
It's actually the electric motors up front, because you have electric motors in the rear that are actually the propulsion, and then you have the electric motors up front, which are actually regenerative, that are charging the battery.
From braking. And they also have a different tire as well. They've got a tire with a tread rather than a flat compound, harder tire, softer tire like a Pirelli would be, but they're cut tire.
What's the difference in price between, or value, however you want to call it, in price between a Formula One car with a gasoline motor in it and this car?
I mean, you're still talking. The Formula One cars are a lot more expensive, just in the fact that the development that goes into those is outrageous. So you factor that into the car. So that's one of the nice things about this series, and a lot of teams are looking at this really hard. Because, I mean, you've got Maserati, you've got Porsche, you've got a lot of manufacturers that are in this type of race.
Do you have Cadillac?
Not yet. Well,
Come on now.
Yeah.
Well,
Not yet.
but you know, that kind of makes sense if they're all running the same tire, they're running the same battery setup. I guess are the motors the same?
The motors are the same as well. They have to come from a specific batch, and they're all categorized. And that's one thing that we check, is make sure that they have the right serial number on the motor and driveline that they're supposed to have.
So have you ever gone back and gone, now wait just a minute, he's cheating. He's got more ohms and amperage on this motor than I do. You ever do that?
I have not had that issue, but the FIA has definitely caught some folks trying to work within the rules. Let's put it that way.
So being FIA, you're under the umbrella of the Liberty Media. Is that correct or no? You still own, because Liberty Media owns it.
I work for an independent team that the FIA contracts for. We do a lot of stuff. We do Formula One, MotoGP. We do the World Endurance Challenge, Rallycross, Formula E. So we do a lot of different stuff. So we work for the FIA.
Now, CODA's coming up September 26th, I think, out in Austin.
That's right.
Are you going to be any kind of things going on there with that event? Because it's going to be, I think absolutely. It's a WES. I think it's a world event.
Yeah, that is the Lone Star Le Mans.
Right.
And we will definitely be there in force in the tech garage.
Cool.
How many electric cars, Formula E's, that you have on the grid when you start every race? Is there a limit?
Well, right now, if I'm not mistaken, they have 24 teams.
So would you be one of the 24 teams on the grid, the starting grid for the COTA race?
So we actually work in the tech shed. We're the guys that they have to go through to get on track. So we work with all the teams in compliance and making sure that they're within the rules.
So between you and me, how about this Cadillac Andretti going into F1 for 2025, 2026? What is your opinion on that? Because I'm an Andretti fan, and I hope they get it.
So Andrew, I got to talk to Andretti actually at Formula E. He was there in Portland, and got to comment to him while we were standing on the grid that I hope that he got there sooner than later.
Yeah.
Kind of snickered. So I'm in full support of them. I can't wait for them to be another team.
They're going to be a gorilla in the room. They are.
They're going to be a force to be reckoned with, and I think that's what they're worried about.
Well, too bad.
Somebody's got to be.
You bet.
Oh no, more competition.
Well, from 10. Well, you said you got 24 teams on the east side. They've only got 10 on the Formula other Formula side. So
right.
what's one more? I mean,
yeah, exactly.
Would you allow a 25th?
Really rooting for them. I think it's only a matter of time.
Yeah. So hopefully sooner than later.
Yeah, he was fixing to ask, is there a limit to the number of e-cars that, like the 24 they got, or is that just happens to be where they're at?
I think that's where they're at right now.
Okay. So 24 teams, you got 48 cars. You got to have garage space. You got to have all that.
Well, I know, but you're only going to have 24 on the track at the time.
Right.
So I'm just wondering, could you have 30 if there was 5 more teams showed up?
Well, then you're adding double the cars too, so you got to have room and capability for that.
Well, I understand. I'm just asking.
Yeah, in Formula E, I think they're wanting as much competition as they can get. I don't think that they would turn away another team, and it's growing a lot. It's actually a lot of fun to watch. It is very, very good racing.
It is. It's cool to watch. I've watched it on TV.
Ross, is this your full-time job?
No, sir. No, I'm actually do real estate.
You're a real estate developer, a broker, one of them bajillionaire guys.
Well, easy.
His tax man's listening.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So how many guys are on that support this team when they go race to race? How many guys go to the race?
It really depends. So on Formula E, we had 12 guys. And then you also have the FIA particular scrutineers as well, which there's typically 10 to a dozen of them at any given time at a race. But like for WEC, which we're going to do in coming up here pretty quick, we're going to have 30 guys out there because we need somebody in every single garage watching for 6 hours straight.
Do you need any help?
Well, we'll take all the help we can. Our team is kind of interesting. We're made up of a whole lot of previous engineers from Chrysler, GM. We've got a couple of guys from NASA. You really have somebody to get on this team. Somebody has to die. Let's just be honest.
Hey, we can make that happen.
I'm probably.
I know a guy.
We know a guy.
I know a guy.
I'm probably closer to that than anybody on your team.
No, they said not natural causes.
Oh, I see. Natural causes. I see. Not unnatural causes. I got you.
It is a very, very tough team to get on.
I bet. It sounds like it'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
All
then
the
everybody-
different races.
And, congratulations on that. That's
So
great.
who do we know from Formula One that is driving Formula E?
For example, like Nick DeVries.
Marco?
They just got dropped from, what was it, Alpine? No, it wasn't. Where did he get dropped from? From Red Bull, the AlphaTauri, which is now Red Bull Visa Cash App, whatever the heck they decided to name that team.
And Marco's driving, isn't he?
Yeah, Marco's driving as well. So he's DeVries is driving. He actually did a great job that weekend. But
is there a Fittipaldi involved?
What's that?
Is there a Fittipaldi driving?
Oh, I want to say that there is.
Yeah,
but I think I'd have to look at that.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, so what are you doing today?
I'm about to actually, when I get done here, I'm headed out to go work on my Corvette. Actually,
Corvette man. Imagine that.
Imagine that. Formula One. And
So,
Corvette.
what kind of Corvette do you have?
I got a 2015 Stingray 7-speed.
Nice. Well, I have a C5, an 01
Nice.
with a 6-speed. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Very cool.
And you're up in the Woodlands?
Yes, sir.
Take me about an hour to get there, but
Yeah, you can do it.
You don't mind if I stop by?
Sure.
He loves your shop the way it looks.
Yeah,
there
yeah.
behind.
We love your shop, and I want to get some pointers on this shop.
There you go.
All right, Ross, it's great to talk to you,
Thanks,
my friend.
Ross.
And we thanks for putting up with our sense of humor, if you want to call it
Absolutely.
that. Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, let's check in next time. When you get done with Coda, let's talk.
Okay.
All right.
Definitely did it.
You got it, Ross. Thanks so much, Ross Smith, the insider look into Formula E.
Yeah, very cool.
Hey, the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is available 24/7 through the iHeartRadio app. Just look for In Wheel Time Car Talk. And a new daily podcast is available from your favorite podcast provider, too. So we have that. We also video stream our live 2-hour weekly show on Facebook, YouTube, and InWheelTime.com. The In Wheel Time Car Talk Show continues right after this quick break.
Pro-Am Auto Accessories has been serving Houston's auto enthusiasts since 1984, providing world-class products for sports cars, European sedans, and American muscle. Pro-Am is known as the place to go to find exclusive and hard-to-find parts and accessories. Pro-Am is one of the very first distributors in the USA for brands such as Recaro, Redline, Momo, Corbo, and Simpson. Located in the heart of Houston's premier retail and service corridor, the Galleria area, Pro-Am's walk-in storefront includes an 8,000-square-foot warehouse, showroom, and installation bays. Pro-Am not only sells parts and accessories, but also offers installation and service. Pro-Am is now reaching a worldwide audience through Pro-Am.com, taking its local reputation to the rest of the world. At Pro-Am Auto, you'll be dealing with a small group of professionals who truly want to help you with your automotive needs. If you don't see what you're looking for on the website, call and Pro-Am will lend you a hand. Pro-Am Auto, 6125 Richmond at Green Ridge in Houston's Galleria area. Call them at 713-781-7755. Want to feel good about something special you did for someone special? In Wheel Time and the original Lupi Tortilla group of Tex-Mex restaurants have joined together to help a very worthy cause, God's Garage, a Christian-based 501c3 charity. We know there are lots of places and organizations out there where you can donate a car, truck, or SUV. But we're asking you, our car enthusiast family, to consider donating to God's Garage. Visit godsgarage.org and learn about its mission, the women that have been helped, how each one is screened, and about their Restore You program. A car donation is an easy way to make a difference in the lives of others. God's Garage needs good operating vehicles, but will take all types in working and non-working condition. Make your heart and soul feel good by donating your gently used vehicle and help support single mothers, widows, and wives of deployed military at godsgarage.org.
Welcome back to the In Wheel Time Car Talk Show.
Oops.
Huh?
I was talking to Mike. I've never mind. We're catching up.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay. You haven't had enough time to catch up.
We haven't seen each other in so long.
Exactly.
Yeah. I know. It's kind of like the boys' club here on Saturday mornings.
With the guests.
With a
Yeah,
guest, yes. By the way, if you haven't heard, this is Paige, and that's Mike's granddaughter.
Yeah. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, we're so glad that you managed to get up this morning, because I was in high school once, and Saturday,
just once. It was on a Tuesday.
that's right, before I got kicked out, and I like to sleep in. Well, it's Sunday mornings, because Saturdays, I've always worked Saturdays for whatever reason. I always get stuck working Saturday mornings, always.
Joys of being
Famous.
you.
No, yeah, joys of being me. That's something to look forward to. You might want to fix your microphone there is hanging down in your chin.
Yeah, we were talking earlier on the way over here about careers and working for yourself. And I thought, and I told her, I said, people like that work 6 and 7 days a week.
7 days a week.
Yeah, 20 hours a day.
Yep.
Because if you think that this ends when we get off the air here, oh no, we start beginning the next show as soon as we get off the air here.
We do.
It's crazy. Yeah.
I
do.
We're supposed to do that?
Don't have to. All right. Well, let's get our car review going here for this segment. Mr. Mars had a chance to drive the GMC Canyon.
Yes, sir. It's the 2024 Canyon 4-wheel drive AT4X crew cab, if you can put all that together.
Wow, you can.
And this is a midsize pickup offering. It's been out from GMC for quite some time, and like a lot of the vehicles in that category, it's gotten a little bit bigger. Comes in 4 trim levels: Elevation, the AT4, the Denali, and the AT4X. We had the AT4X 4-wheel drive crew cab. Now, this is a very off-road centric type of vehicle. It comes lifted. It's got the big tires, big wheels. It's got all that good stuff on it. So
Looks good.
Seats 5 people. It looks really good. There's a few things about it. This one we had the AEV package. Now, that's a deal they cooked up with American Expedition Vehicles. It's an aftermarket company. So some of the things that we have on this truck are from them, but you can get it through the dealer when you go buy your truck. Like, I'm going to get to that in a moment.
God.
LED lighting up front. You're going to have the fog lights, the daytime running lights, tail lights, all that stuff. It has the AEV fender flares on it, so that you got, again, that off-road deal. And then you've got a rear bumper that comes from AEV as part of the package. Skid plates up front for the front suspension, transfer case, fuel tank, the rear diff. All of them have skid plates. Got rock rails on the side of it that look very similar to running boards, but they're not. They're tilted up, and they're to protect the bottom of the vehicle. So you got to kind of step up and step over them.
Yeah.
Now, we also had the multi-stow tailgate, which is a storage unit on the tailgate that's really cool, and it's another one of those things you go, duh, why didn't somebody come up with this before? Now, the one thing it does have, and when we get to it, Jeff, and we'll get you to stop it whenever we get to it. It rolls on some 19-inch beadlock capable wheels, and it's got the 35-inch tires. That right there, hold that right there. Now, this has an option of having a full-size spare mounted in the bed. Now, that's a really cool idea. You can't fit it underneath because it's too big, but they've got it mounted to the back of the cab flush. Now, that, if you look at it through your rear view mirror, that takes up half your rear view.
Yeah, it's behind the driver's side.
That's right. And then you got this big, enormous headrest on the other side, so that basically your rear view's blocked. And I do not understand why they don't have the rear view camera in
the mirror.
In the mirror, just like the Chevrolet GM product I'm driving right now.
Yeah, Don's electric one.
I mean, because it's you have to, if you're looking behind you, you got to kind of work your way around to look in between the headrest and that deal. And
Stop complaining.
It ruins a perfectly good truck. Anyway, I wanted to point that out. Engineers, you need to do something about that. Moving on into the interior, we has the leather seating. The front and rear seats are heated and ventilated. The now standard for this year is an 11.3-inch touchscreen. That's where you're going to find your infotainment system and your convenience controls, your Apple CarPlay, Android, and Google. Get Google TV on this thing.
We're watching
11-inch
stuff there.
It's okay.
11-inch digital instrument cluster on it, and it's very easy, and it's really easy to configure for the driver. Had the premier Bose audio system, so it sounded really, really good on the inside of it. Now, up under the hood, all of the Canyons this year have the 2.7-liter Turbo Max engine in it. 310 horsepower, 430 pound-feet of torque, backed by an 8-speed automatic. Now, this vehicle is capable of towing 7,700 pounds when properly equipped, haul 1,640, which this is a pretty good-sized load that you're going to put on a mid-sized truck. Now, the EPA says you should be able to get 16 miles in the city, 16 on the highway, and combined 16. I got 15.2 miles out of the 412 miles I drove this vehicle. This vehicle's kind of heavy. It weighs in at 6,100 pounds for a mid-sized pickup.
This pickup truck is the same size as the old half-ton pickup truck.
It's within inches, absolutely. It's almost as big as that Ram truck that sits beside it in my driveway. So, again, now as far as you get out on the highway and you get to driving it, obviously it's geared towards the off-road with the suspension, the components that go into that, the body lift kit in it. In fact, ours has the AEV, has actually got an extra inch on the lift on it. So it's a very firm ride, but it's not harsh. It's surprisingly, and I think that's because of the tires and the sidewall flexibility in it that kind of lightens up on that. And again, as I said, it does set up high. You got to step over the rock rails, and if you try and use them, you got to be careful and make sure it's not wet because you will slide off of it. Now, the base model price for a Canyon is $37,595. The base model for this particular trim, the AT4X, is $54,300. We had a couple of options.
Yeah. Wow.
So the MSRP as tested is $67,990 for a mid-sized truck.
From what to what? Base price
$37,595 for a base Canyon.
And this is 67.
Yeah.
$30,000 more.
Wow.
Now, if you're looking for something to compare it to in the midsize,
I'm not good at math, but
your
that's a lot.
Ford Ranger for $32,720, the Toyota Tacoma at $31,500, or even the Gladiator, which starts at $37,895. It's the high one on it. But other than a few little things, this was a pretty neat car. I had one guy stop me at a red light. What do you think? And I said, if you want to go off-roading from the factory, get it.
Yep, open up that wallet. It's all yours. Mm-hmm. Hey, today's In Wheel Time Car Talk Show is sponsored by the group of original Lupi Tortilla restaurants in Houston, Beaumont, and College Station. Also, Gulf Coast Auto Shield and Pro-Am Auto Accessories. We continue our show right after this quick break.
The original group of Lupi Tortilla restaurants will have you telling your family and friends just what the original recipe means when it comes to the best fajitas in Southeast Texas. Founder Stan Holt invites you to visit the first Lupi Tortilla near I-10 and Highway 6. Here is the original house that inspired the design of all the rest and the original charm that helped make Lupi Tortilla the go-to destination for Houston Tex-Mex. Nothing can compete with the original lime pepper marinade that everyone will agree makes Lupi Tortilla award-winning beef fajitas the best anywhere. Lupi Tortilla Katie's another location that gives you the same quality and service Houstonians have come to expect at Lupi's. It's located on 99 the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard in Katy. Find yourself in Aggieland? Head to the Lupi Tortilla in College Station. Located just around the corner from Kyle Field, it's a great place to enjoy those famous frozen margaritas before or after the game. Going to Louisiana? The Lupi Tortilla in Beaumont is on I-10, so you can't miss it. The original group of Lupi Tortilla restaurants has the best Tex-Mex anywhere, and you're invited anytime. Your car is a direct reflection of you, so don't be satisfied with color fade or a dingy, dull appearance. Get rid of those terrible automated car wash scratches. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is your Save the Paint company. John Gray and his team of detailing experts can help your cars finish without a full repaint. Searching for the real experts in window tint or windshield protection? Gulf Coast Auto Shield. Dash cams, radar detectors? Gulf Coast Auto Shield. Got a new car? Get that thing protected as soon as you take delivery. If you don't know which of the multitude of protection products to go with, John Gray will give you an honest opinion and won't sell you something you don't need or can't afford. John will help you understand the many options and pricing right on the spot. He's your guy to have your ride looking its best and protected too. See the state-of-the-art shop yourself. Free tours anytime. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is easy to get to, located just south of the Southwest Freeway on the Sam Houston Parkway. Gulf Coast Auto Shield, full-service luxury car care today, and online at gcautoshield.com. That's it for this podcast episode of the In Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.